Parker.
Several local pastors say they do have parishioners with guns in their churches. Larry Brandon with Praise Temple telling KEEL News why he's implemented the program in his church.
We really don't want to intervene. We want to act as a deterrent. We want to prevent. We're taking preventive measures. We want someone to think not twice, but we want them to think 4 or 5 times before they begin to act evil or to try to create a violent situation.
State law allows guns in churches if the pastor gives the okay and the gun owner goes through specialized training. Big improvements for some local school districts, both Bossier and DeSoto Parish scoring an A in performance scores. Caddo is up some, but still remaining at a C level. The Bossier Council votes 4-3 to move ahead on a plan to allow 24/7 alcohol consumption in a portion of the newly revitalized downtown area. Some of the biggest concerns with the proposal are the size of the area, public safety, security, and homelessness. Shreveport Police Chief Alan Crump back on the job after being cleared in an investigation of a shooting incident. Crump was on paid leave following an incident where he fired his gun while in pursuit of a suspect. The DA's office conducted a review and determined there were no grounds for action against the chief. Mayor Ollie Tyler said in a statement, Crump showed his willingness to put his life on the line and actively participate in fighting crime. You can read her full statement at KEELnews.com. Senator Bill Cassidy has introduced the Vehicular Terrorism Prevention Act. It's aimed at preventing terrorists from using cars to attack Americans. Cassidy says as technology improves, newer vehicles can become weapons in the hands of terrorists.
Driverless cars, for example, could those be used as weapons? We need to consider this and make sure that we have all the tools that law enforcement needs to keep this from happening.
Cassidy says driverless vehicles are basically computers on wheels that can be controlled remotely. We're roughly a year away from voting for mayor in Shreveport, and we have done a poll online in the mayor's race. And with the votes so far, Stephen Jackson has the lead at 38%. Jeff Everson second at 27%. Local political watchdog Scott Hughes tells KEEL News he expects some surprises in the mayor's race.
We almost always look for a council person. I don't think the person's coming off the council. I really think that the way the voter electorate is today in Shreveport, that it is prime for a candidate we don't even know about yet.
The election is November 5th next year. Today marks the one-year anniversary of President Trump's stunning victory over Democrat Hillary Clinton. He'll mark the occasion in Asia, where he's on a 5-nation tour. Meantime, 3 UCLA basketball players are locked up in China. They include LiAngelo Ball, the younger brother of Lakers rookie Lonzo Ball. They're suspected of shoplifting. The Bruins are scheduled to play Georgia Tech in Shanghai. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. $7653.
And right now, visit that Chris Hayes website online. No risk home selling. Ten past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Traffic time, Wednesday stuff. Starting us off, here's Ruben.
It is, once again, the best time of day to get from A to B because everything is all clear for your early morning drive to work or school. But look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Linwood Avenue near Mount Zion Road due to construction. Watch out for wet road conditions this morning, and if you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Overcast and cooler today with rain at times. Steadiest this afternoon. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the 50s. The rain will end this evening. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
See, start the show with a little Ric Flair tribute. Aren't you happy? Woo!
You did it wrong.
I'm not going to do it. 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Matt said that Erin and I were probably the only two people in America that did not watch ESPN last night. Specifically, the Ric Flair documentary on their 30 for 30 series.
We're not alone.
And I said, well, I was going to, but, and I mean this.
There was a paint drying show on.
I mean this with all respect to Matt and his affinities. In fact, that's the word I used. With all respect to you and your affinities, it's wrestling. I don't care.
Yeah, me too.
And he said Ric Flair was about more than wrestling. Ric Flair. What did you say? The two most influential athletes of the 20th century. This is what he said, and we're going to give him all morning to back it up.
Seriously?
The two most influential athletes of the 20th century, he said, were Muhammad Ali and Ric Flair. Jackie Robinson, probably not in the mix. Booted out by a peroxide-haired white man.
My kid wouldn't even know who Ric Flair is.
I highly doubt that. There's not a person in the world that doesn't know who Ric Flair is.
No clue.
Did you know?
I guarantee it.
Did you have any?
No clue.
You didn't know it.
No
I mean, I knew
clue.
who he was. I knew he was a wrestler. I did not know. I knew of late he has had serious health problems. Honestly, I thought he was deceased. He is not.
I thought he was deceased too. He's not.
Just because you guys don't follow, go talk to any professional athlete in the world today. Everything they get is from Ric Flair. Conor McGregor, Tom Brady's good friends with Ric Flair. When teams need a motivational speech, whether you're talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers or what team was he just recently?
You're living in a wrestling bubble.
No, the Atlanta Falcons. If I'm living in a wrestling bubble, so is every professional sports team in the free world, as well as some of the top performers in MMA,
When's it on
boxing.
When's it on again? I'll watch it for you.
I have no idea.
I'll track it down.
Yeah.
I've got that.
I need a nap. I'll watch it.
See, there you go. Living in your bubble. Speaking of bubbles, show everybody on camera what you got from Amazon today.
I feel bad about this.
You should feel bad about this. You're costing people jobs.
No, I save me money. That's what it's about. Save me money.
Now, that's an interesting way of looking at it. Because like our friend Jack Bailey said,
I mail ordered this.
I understand.
I'm talking about my Scott tissue.
You got toilet paper
tissue.
through Amazon.
Amazon Prime.
Okay.
It was on a good deal.
If you could get everything from Amazon, would you?
Yeah.
And how many jobs?
I would.
We've talked about this before, and I'm being kind of serious here. What does it do to local jobs when you buy something that is easily obtainable locally? Is it worth? Is it worth the money you save? As our friend Jack Bailey said, is it worth saving a few bucks on cheap plastic stuff from China or Japan or Guatemala? Is it worth in the long run the number of jobs locally that are lost? And invariably they are. It's like
the local businesses are going to have to become competitive.
What if they can't? What if their costs? They have a building. They have wages to pay. They have overhead that Amazon does not have. So
they don't have to make as much money, perhaps, that they were making. Trim down what your execs make, maybe.
So I'm asking you once again, at what level of local unemployment look at Shreveport right now. Shreveport is and has been in, to a degree, some would say a great degree, an economic depression for a long time. And the reason for that is cheap overseas labor. We'll play that bit a little bit later.
But you're missing my point. The money I can save by buying my basics from Amazon, I can use in the local economy. I can go to the Strand and see a show. I could go see the Pelicans play if they were here. I can go watch a movie.
But if
I can go out and spend my money elsewhere, the shopping convenience for me is worth it. I'll have the extra money that I save to use on other things, like another margarita at Superior, perhaps.
If Kroger's not open, the Strand won't be open for long. If Walmart's not around, don't count on...
Walmart's not going anywhere. That's a stupid thing to say.
Count on to the contrary.
No, Walmart will always be here. They're all moving to the direction of Amazon. And in fact, when I do the rehab on my home, I'm getting that special lock you put on your house where your delivery guy can get in, put your package in, and leave. That's the newest trend now, because that's why I have stuff delivered here, because I don't want it sitting out at my house all day where somebody could snatch it.
What we hear in this room right now is, for better or worse, I tend to think for worse, the unavoidable evolution of our economy. And there's going to be fewer jobs, and there's going to be fewer people employed, and there's going to be few, as the saying goes, as the phrase goes, brick and mortar facilities. That is just unavoidable because
No, the jobs will be in different places.
Tell me where.
My money is still being spent. I'm still spending the money. What I'm saving the money on, I'm going to spend on other places in our economy, which will create other jobs.
You're getting 5 packages from Amazon a week.
Exactly. And I'm saving a lot of money per week.
But those other people, the lots and lots and lots of other people that are losing their jobs because you're saving money on Amazon and want more margaritas, they're not going to have the disposable income you gain.
Here's the problem I run into. I go into a big electronics store here in town.
Right.
Okay, a big one. Its initials are BB. And I go to find 3 particular items. They were very specific. One had to do with my phone. One had to do with headphones. It was something else. And I go into this big, big, big electronics store to find these 3 items. None of them are in stock. I'm told by the clerk, you're going to probably have to order those online. Well, if you want me to keep coming back into your store, you got to have the stuff I want. You're now encouraging me to go home, get on my computer, and order this stuff online. Well, guess what? You just spurred me. You just created an Amazon fire for me.
What was, and it was on Facebook, and it was the story on Facebook that a friend of ours told about calling AT&T because he was having a service problem. Or was it may have been one of the cable companies, I don't know, but whoever it happened to be, the service representative that he finally got on the phone said, you know, you could probably save time if you went online. And he says to her, but by talking to you, I'm saving your job. At which point she says, thank you, sir. But remember, you can save time all the way down the line.
I know.
She was following the company dictum, the company rule, the company maybe or maybe not realizing that with every single person who goes online and bypasses, it's just like the self-checkout line at Kroger. When it gets to the point that they decide that every time you go through self-checkout, and you're saying, well, I'm saving 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay, but that's one more little checkout person that they're not going to have to hire anymore.
Well, if I go into a store, I go to a checker. But, you know, my issue is some of the things I buy are very weird. One example would be my Himalayan sea salt. Okay? If I have to go in Walmart or Target and look for Himalayan sea salt and then ask a clerk or somebody on the floor, where's your Himalayan sea salt? They have no freaking clue. Well, guess what? I'm one click away from my Himalayan sea salt, and I'm laying in my jammies in bed.
Look, there's your toilet paper.
Yeah.
Enough said.
I feel bad about that.
19 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty traffic update coming up right now. Oh, by the way, what's the latest with the school scores? We'll find out next. Meantime, here's Ruben.
Everything's still running nice and smooth for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Overcast and cooler today with rain at times. Steadiest this afternoon. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the 50s. The rain will end this evening. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning. It's 22 past 6. Time for sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The college football playoff rankings were unveiled last night. No change, really. At the top, Georgia 1, Bama 2, Notre Dame 3, Clemson 4. Then Oklahoma and TCU are 5 and 6. Unbeaten Miami moved up 3 spots to number 7. Wisconsin, also undefeated, moved up only 1 spot to number 8. Washington is 9th. Auburn is 10th. Other SEC schools, Mississippi State is at 16. Of course, they host Alabama this weekend. And LSU, still hanging in there like a hair on a biscuit, is at number 24. In the NBA last night, the New Orleans Pelicans won their 3rd straight game with a 117-112 win over Indiana. They trailed by 14 at the half, but came back thanks to Anthony Davis and Boogie Cousins. AD had 37 points, 14 rebounds. Boogie Cousins, 32 and 13. Former Louisiana Tech Bulldog Paul Millsap had 17 points as Denver knocked off Brooklyn 117-104. And the Philadelphia 76ers have won 5 straight. Former LSU ace Ben Simmons, 16 points, 13 rebounds, as the Sixers took care of Utah, 104-97. The LSUS Pilot basketball program picked up a double dip of wins in Dallas. The women improved to 4-0 with a 92-42 win over Dallas Christian, and the Pilots knocked off Dallas Christian 107-81 to improve to 3-0. And tragic news in the world of baseball, 40-year-old two-time Cy Young winner Roy Halladay died in a single plane crash on Tuesday when his plane crashed into the Gulf of Mexico just off the coast of Florida. Halladay is the only man, other than Don Larson, to throw a no-hitter in postseason play. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
What? 25 past 6 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. The Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884. Okay.
Heads up in West Shreveport. I'm just going to give you this real quick.
What's up?
They did a high-speed chase along I-20 all the way from Texas, 3 counties in Texas, into Shreveport. The suspect bailed out of his car at the Seventh-day Adventist Church on Westport Avenue.
Right across the street.
Yeah, they found the car there. He bailed out. They haven't found the man. They're
He's
searching the entire area around West Shreveport for him.
The scores came out yesterday, state scores, for public schools across Louisiana. This is the last year we're grading on the curve. I didn't know we were grading on the curve. So I saw yesterday, I saw on our website, KeelNews.com, that Bossier got an A.
DeSoto also got an A.
DeSoto got another A.
Caddo is holding steady at a C, but has made some improvements. So they have, and no schools are failing. Captain Shreve is up to an A, which is good news for Shreve and the Gators family. So congrats to them.
This is on the curve.
Yeah,
and I
next
guess
year is going to be a big change.
I guess my question would be, we talked about this yesterday. Do we know what the degree of improvement is? The degree of improvement on the curve consistent? I.e., does everybody get X number of points?
Don't know. I don't know.
And so will we be able to tell by subtracting from the curve who really would have failed? Who really next year this time when they do this again? In other words, if you've got a C, let's say Caddo Parish has a C, does Caddo Parish really have a D? Or does Caddo Parish, you know what I mean?
Right, I understand.
In other words, do we know? And second of all, what was the purpose of doing this in the first place? And is it as blatant as it seems? Well, we're doing it so everybody will do better, so the state won't take over and we'll get more money.
Well, it has a lot to do with federal programs. because you have to, at some point, you have to meet the federal accountability standards.
And the federal, therefore, knows that you're cutting corners.
But they give you some time to phase in. You have time to phase up to our standards.
Evidently, they give you time to grade on the curve.
They do, and then you have to move to their plan, to their grading system. I think that's the way it works. I may be mistaken.
No matter how it works, if you're going to grade on the curve, knowing that someday you're not going to grade on the curve, what good does it do you to grade on the curve other than it makes you look better than you are?
Yeah, and you don't want, the state doesn't want to take over all these schools.
And it makes you look better than you are.
You bet.
You're working the system to your own benefit.
Sure.
And now, is it going to be our schools across the state, our schools in Caddo Parish with a C, are we going to hit the wall now? And do they take away everything that we've gotten because we were on the curve?
No, you start fresh this year. You're going to have to start improving and really seriously make some improvements. But I'm a little bit mystified by seeing all the celebrating going on for the A's, for the parishes that got A's. They're having these big parties and all that. I think,
maybe they know they really got A's. Maybe with or without the curve.
Maybe they did without the curve. Maybe they did. Maybe they have some inside info.
When you have parishes like Caddo at a C on the curve, and maybe with the curve, maybe without it, we still would have gotten a C. That's one of the questions we can ask Dr. Gorey later this morning. I just don't see the point of. I do. You're grading on the curve to make yourself look better to get more stuff.
That's not his decision, though. I mean, that's the state education department's decision based on what the federal government's guidelines are. Now, he'll shoot straight with us. He'll say, hey, I am worried when the system's changed.
I mean, if there's a school that's barely a D, and they know we got a D. We're doing better. We got a D. No, you really got an F. We got a C.
You really would have been an F.
No, you really got a D. Oh, no, look, see, the record says we're a B. No, you really got a D.
Yeah. If you didn't have all these smart kids in class, to change the curve.
You're cooking the books.
Right.
You're literally cooking the books. And, well, it's only cooking the books, I guess, if nobody knows. So is everybody looking the other way going, well, we'll grade on the curve until date X, and then we'll worry about it then.
Yeah.
29 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Erin has local news up next. Right now, traffic. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still running nice and smooth for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Overcast and cooler today with rain at times. Steadiest this afternoon. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the 50s. The rain will end this evening. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Shreveport Police Chief Alan Crump back on the job after being cleared in an investigation of a shooting incident. Crump was on paid leave following an incident where he fired his gun while pursuing a suspect. Oh. All right, so just your mic? Yeah. Meantime, 3 UCLA men's basketball players, including LiAngelo Ball, the younger brother of Lakers rookie Lonzo Ball, have been released on bail early today in China after they were arrested for allegedly shoplifting. The 3 players, a group that also includes freshman Cody Riley and Jalen Hill, were questioned about stealing from a Louis Vuitton store next to the team's hotel. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Consumption in a portion of the new revitalized downtown area. Some of the biggest concerns with the proposal are the size of the designated area, public safety, security, and homelessness. While many business owners agree that Bossier needs to change with the times, they do want the plan to be executed properly. The council will make some changes and revisit the proposal at next week's meeting. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
State Senator Greg Tarver says he is more concerned about the future of University Health Hospital with BRF in control. KEEL News asked him, what is the answer?
I will bring the hospital back to LSU Med School. That's number one. Then the problem up here will be solved like it was at first. LSU Med School at first made money and was sending money to the state. All of a sudden, they're losing money, and they're depending on the state.
You can hear Tarver's complete comments online at KEELnews.com. Recent record-breaking heat giving way to much cooler temps as a cold front moves in. State climatologist Barry Kime says expect a gray, dreary day.
The clouds and rain are going to hang around all day today, but the rain totals are not going to amount to a whole lot. It's going to be mostly drizzly conditions and periodic light rain.
After the front moves through, Kime says expect much colder air descending on the state. Cybersecurity at the ballot box, a top priority for Louisiana Secretary of State Tom Shedler. He says some information he was to present this week before a congressional committee would have showed the scope of information they're tasked with protecting.
It's not only the voting machines, but it's also the entire registration process and the registration list.
Shedler says if anyone were to be successful in breaching the confidential information by physically taking a machine, they would have a very short time to do it. Danny Etling makes his 20th start at quarterback for the LSU Tigers when they host Arkansas Saturday. Coach Ed Orgeron gave Etling a vote of confidence earlier this week. Etling appreciates just that.
I mean, Coach, obviously, if he's put me out there, he has faith in me, and as long as I'm out there, I'll continue to always be trying to make the right read and the best decision for the team, and continue to try and do what I'm coached and try and do better and better every single week at that.
Kickoff Saturday is at 11 a.m. China pulling out all the stops for President Trump's arrival in Beijing. Honor guard, marching band, jumping children. The ceremony accompanying Trump's arrival at Beijing's airport was elaborate even by China's lavish standards. Don't believe this really happened, but it did. Arizona authorities investigating a home invasion and then the kidnapping of a 94-year-old woman. She was taken to a hospital for evaluation, expected to be okay. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
So I want to say Clemson's number one. I was thinking last year. So Georgia is still number one. 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin, 637. College football bowl championship thing. The top 4 teams.
Didn't change.
Let's see. Georgia is still number one. Alabama number 2, Notre Dame 3, and Clemson number 4.
Yep, Oklahoma 5th, TCU, Miami, Wisconsin, Washington, Auburn is number 10. The LSU Tigers fall to number 24.
So unbeaten Wisconsin are they even in the top 10?
They're 8.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So unbeaten Wisconsin. So if everybody wins out.
Unbeaten Miami is 7.
If everybody in the top 4 wins out, you could have an unbeaten Wisconsin team winning the Big Ten championship and left out of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. The 2 that fell the biggest were Ohio State, Penn State. They fall from 6-7 to 13-14. Now you have a showdown this weekend. The game to watch this weekend is number 7 Miami, 8-0, facing number 3 Notre Dame.
Do they play in South Bend or in Miami?
I believe it's in Miami. I may be wrong, but I believe it's in Miami.
Well,
College game day will be there.
You had a 50-50 chance.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be the game of the week. If Miami can win that one, Miami's got to be in the top 4. No doubt. They're undefeated.
So they're going to jump a whole bunch of other teams that they don't think.
They're 7, so they would jump a bunch.
But the point I'm making is that the voters think right now that there are at least 3 teams, numbers 5, 6, and 7, who are better than unbeaten Miami right now.
Yeah, but they're going to beat number 3. And Notre Dame would fall down probably out of the top 10 with 2 losses.
So let's say that just theoretically, everybody in your top 4, Alabama, Georgia, Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson. Let's say those 4 teams win out. And you come to the SEC championship.
Wow.
And Alabama, here was a scenario that was presented last night I thought was interesting. So let's say that Georgia, number 1, Alabama 2, Notre Dame 3, and Clemson number 4. Let's say all 4 of those teams win out, and those 4 teams go to the championship series.
Sure.
No, wait, let's stop a second. I get ahead of myself. Let's say that those 4 teams win out, and Alabama and Georgia play in the SEC championship. And let's say theoretically, you think Georgia's the better team. Let's say Georgia beats Alabama in overtime on a field goal. Okay, the voters thinking, man, Alabama's still a real good team.
Yeah.
Georgia's great. Alabama still may be one of the best teams, but we got to drop them a little bit because they lost. So let's say at the end of the season, you have Georgia, Notre Dame, Clemson, and Alabama number 4 having lost to Georgia in overtime on a field goal in the SEC championship. Do you realize that Georgia and Alabama would play each other back-to-back weeks?
Yeah, exactly. Here's what I think. One day, maybe not this year, one day this is going to happen where you're going to have this Georgia-Alabama scenario, and they're both 1 and 2, and one of them is going to say, we're number 1 or number 2 in the country, regardless of this SEC championship game. I'm not playing that game. I'm forfeiting that game. I'm not going to risk injury to my kids. I'm going to roll the dice. You want to bump me down to number 4 because of it? Go ahead.
You would be bumped down to number 120.
No. See, I think that game is meaningless. It's not fair. Notre Dame doesn't have to play one. Notre Dame plays 1 less game a year. How can that be fair? We play 13 games. They play 12.
Because
it's not fair.
You're right to some degree. And athletic directors of the big conferences, the Power 5 conferences across the country are starting to realize that in the end it hurts their teams. But television gives you $1 zillion. Do you know why LSU is playing at 11 o'clock this morning, Saturday morning?
Yeah.
Because TV gives them $1 zillion.
But you get $1 zillion if you win a national championship, and your chances are better if you rest your guys and they don't have to play Georgia back-to-back.
You're right, but that school president and that athletic director and that coach would rather have $2 zillion than $1 zillion. And in the end,
the recruiting for winning a national title was worth way more than $1 zillion.
And at the end of the day, honestly, the players be damned. 641, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Erin. Traffic update. Here's Ruben.
It is once again the best time of day to get from A to B because everything is all clear for your early morning drive to work or school. But look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Linwood Avenue near Mount Zion Road due to construction. Watch out for wet road conditions this morning, and if you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Overcast and cooler today with rain at times. Steadiest this afternoon. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the 50s. The rain will end this evening. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
I remember once upon a time in my home church.
Uh, 642, it's 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert and Erin, it was a headline that was plastered across websites and news sites all over Louisiana yesterday, and it was ours on KeelNews.com. And the headline was, Shreveport pastor says, my congregation is protected.
Mm-hmm.
Shreveport pastor says, my congregation is protected.
They're packing.
And we know what we mean in this day and age by protected. It was Bishop Larry.
Bishop Larry Brandon of Praise Temple Full Gospel Cathedral.
Thank you very much. I had
man.
Hold on, give me just a second.
A tickle in your throat?
I'm going to go away. Well, not from there. You're not. Hold on.
And we talked to him about people in his church who are packing heat.
Okay, I'm better now. The opening question was about the shooting this past weekend in Sutherland Springs, Texas. And we asked about that and then about protection for his parishioners. So we started off with this past weekend, Sutherland Springs, things are not the same.
I remember once upon a time in my home church, we could leave the doors open. Anyone can come in at any time, pray, meditate, and whatever. But as I've mentioned before, if we don't tie everything down, they'll steal it out of the parking lot, unfortunately. And that's what we have evolved into. And I would say to them, especially in light of the recent tragedy, that, the question is often asked in various ways. Why do bad things happen to good people? Well, first of all, as I often share, is evil, good is good. God is good, the devil is evil. The devil can set the stage, but it's up to us as free moral agents if we're going to act on the stage or not. And so there are those who choose to be evil, and there are those who choose to be good. It's a choice. And then there are those who have mental illnesses, and that's something that our nation and our state and our local community, we need to step up to the plate and to help our fellow citizens who are challenged with various mental diseases and so forth. But I want to remind everyone that God is good. This is not God, and the act of God is just the act of free moral agents who are evil.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we're so quick after these tragedies, Larry, to jump to talk about gun control, but we don't talk about we need more help for mental ill folks.
Absolutely. And first of all, I understand what they're saying about gun control, and I understand both sides. However, the weapon, the gun, it can become a friend or a foe. Guns for hunting or guns for hurting. And it depends on the individual that's carrying the gun. So we need to really look at the individual and just stop focusing on weapons. And we can have the gun controls all day long, but it won't. We won't be able to keep them out of the hands of evil people, criminals, and so forth.
We have a law in Louisiana that allows guns in churches if the pastor approves and the person gets training. Do you have this program in place at your church? Can you explain what you do at Praise Temple?
Well, at Praise Temple, my responsibility as a shepherd is to protect the sheep. And like I said, when I began pastoring and organized Praise Temple as the Lord led 25 years ago, we never thought of, weapons and security and what have you. Just people loving God and worshiping God in a safe environment. But since we have people that are evil, and of course, Judgment Day is coming, this is a clear indication of it. What we have a team that's in place. We have those individuals trained. I'm grateful for Cattle Parish. Sheriff's Department come and train many of our team members, and we have great law enforcement here.
And they're actually armed? They're armed, Larry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they have concealed carry permits. They're trained. And again, I frown upon and I ask those who are not trained and don't have the proper license, but, don't bring your weapons. And especially if you're not on the team, you don't need to bring your weapons. We're there to support, and we're there to help. But training is key. And but again, we rely on our local law enforcement first. And I think the purpose of our cameras and all is to act as a deterrent, because we really don't want to intervene. We want to act as a deterrent. We want to prevent. We're taking preventive measures. We want someone to think not twice, but we want them to think 4 or 5 times before they begin to act evil or to try to create a violent situation.
Larry, if you could, when you were describing the security at your church, at your place of worship, if you could have seen the look on Erin's face, the hurt and the dismay.
I'm almost in tears thinking we have to have people with guns in our churches.
And
it's
yet,
horrible.
we heard from so many churches yesterday of all faiths, of all denominations, who in fact are doing, have done, have implemented the same security measures that you have at your place.
Absolutely, and it's horrible. I'm hurt by it. It's really hurtful to think we have to carry guns in church, a place of refuge, a house of refuge where we're speaking life and not death. And so, but we have to protect ourselves from those who are evil, and that's all through Scripture. The children of Israel had an army to protect the temple and so forth. It's horrible that it happened, but something has to be done, and I just believe that we all should be good neighbors. We're better together. So as community members, we need to work with our politicians, our public servants, our churches, our nonprofit, non-governmental organizations, and so forth, all come together. And let's just stop talking, but let's actually do something. And I just don't like to attend meetings after meeting to meet about the next meeting. We really need to do something to meet needs across our world, our country, especially in our area.
It is 6:51. It's 101.7 FM 710 KEEL and the KEEL app. Here's traffic. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still running nice and smooth for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Overcast and cooler today with rain at times. Steadiest this afternoon. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the 50s. The rain will end this evening. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning. It's 8 away from 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The college football playoff rankings were unveiled last night. No change, really. At the top, Georgia 1, Bama 2, Notre Dame 3, Clemson 4, then Oklahoma and TCU are 5 and 6. Unbeaten Miami moved up 3 spots to number 7. Wisconsin, also undefeated, moved up only 1 spot to number 8. Washington is 9th. Auburn is 10th. Other SEC schools, Mississippi State is at 16. Of course, they host Alabama this weekend. And LSU, still hanging in there like a hair on a biscuit, is at number 24. In the NBA last night, the New Orleans Pelicans won their third straight game with a 117-112 win over Indiana. They trailed by 14 at the half, but came back thanks to Anthony Davis and Boogie Cousins. AD had 37 points, 14 rebounds. Boogie Cousins, 32 and 13. Former Louisiana Tech Bulldog Paul Millsap had 17 points as Denver knocked off Brooklyn 117-104. And the Philadelphia 76ers have won 5 straight. Former LSU ace Ben Simmons, 16 points, 13 rebounds, as the Sixers took care of Utah, 104-97. The LSUS Pilot basketball program picked up a double dip of wins in Dallas. The women improved to 4-0 with a 92-42 win over Dallas Christian, and the Pilots knocked off Dallas Christian 107-81 to improve to 3-0. And tragic news in the world of baseball, 40-year-old two-time Cy Young winner Roy Halladay died in a single plane crash on Tuesday when his plane crashed into the Gulf of Mexico just off the coast of Florida. Halladay is the only man, other than Don Larson, to throw a no-hitter in postseason play. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
It is 6:53, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty just after 7 o'clock. Let's see, we have Dr. Kate Brumley from DeSoto Parish at 7:10 talking about the school scores.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Dr. Lamar Gorey from Caddo Parish at 8:10 talking about the school scores. And Scott Smith from Bossier Parish ought to be real happy. Bossier Parish got an A.
You bet.
As did DeSoto.
Mm-hmm.
And Caddo got a C.
Yeah, but they're up. Their scores are up, but still hanging in at a C.
McCartney calls. I saw this headline last night. And we'll talk about this more after 7 o'clock if we have time. Paul McCartney calls Donald Trump climate change denial madness. It's madness. It's crazy. Paul McCartney says Donald Trump is out of his mind to not understand that the planet is on the verge of total collapse because of global warming, because of climate change. Who flew a private plane into Shreveport when he was up here and here?
Paul McCartney. Yeah.
When's the last time you think Paul rode coach? Flew commercial?
Probably never. Probably never.
Think he took a bus over? You think he took a ride with a whole bunch of other people? Or do you think he had a private car?
He was in. We have pictures of he's in an SUV.
Okay.
Private SUV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, it's like gun control, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's do I get to protect my family with the same weaponry that the president gets to protect his? It just seems to make sense.
Yeah.
656, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. I should fly private. You should pay $8 a gallon. 656, here's Rush on Keel.
Last Friday, the Washington Post ran an ominous headline that Republicans are going to be raising taxes on some Americans and that there will be a backlash. Now, first of all, the proposed tax bill isn't the final version. A lot's going to inevitably change. But what really bugs the Washington Post is the proposal to eliminate deductions for state income taxes. If you live in an expensive blue city like New York, San Francisco, or Los Angeles, and your state has super high income taxes like New York and California do, well, this could impact you. The Washington Post gives some examples. Take a California resident who makes $100,000 a year. Their state tax alone would come in at $6,000, and it would no longer be deductible. Somebody who makes $150,000, lives in San Francisco or Los Angeles, can expect to pay over $10,000 a year in state taxes, no longer deductible. Yes, so some people be upset, but the Washington Post never raises some important questions. One, why are your state taxes so high? And two, why do you keep voting for people who keep raising your taxes? Finally, why should people in low-tax states or with no state tax deductions subsidize people in high-tax states? As for backlash, California and New York don't vote Republican anyway. So the supposed anti-Republican backlash might not be as ominous as the Washington Post hopes. In fact, there'd probably be some applause for it. Yes. Hey, you know that big credit bureau data breach that made the news recently? It may cause you some concern. Are you worried that you're one of the 145 million people whose identity may have been compromised? Freezing your credit may not be enough, folks. That doesn't prevent your personal information from being sold on the dark web. But LifeLock can help. They will monitor your personal information and alert you to suspicious activity. If you have a problem with identity theft, one of their U.S.-based restoration specialists will work to fix it. Now, of course, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but LifeLock's the best at it. Call 800-440-4833 or go to lifelock.com right now, and you can save 10% off if you use the promo code RUSH. That's 800-440-4833 or lifelock.com. Make sure to use the promo code RUSH.
The intersection at West 70th Street and Mansfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Swan Lake Road near Shed Road in Bossier City. If you know something we don't, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Rain at times today, steadiest for the afternoon and evening, remaining cloudy and cooler. Temperatures holding nearly steady in the 50s. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
3 past 7 o'clock, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. The KEEL app presented by Office Furniture Source. Local news next.
School scores are in. We'll tell you what they look like. Shreveport's police chief, Alan Crump, is back on the job today. And the Bossier Council, a big vote on alcohol consumption.
Dum. School scores are awesome.
Please don't ever do that again.
With the curve.
Oh, man.
Dr. Kate Brumley, superintendent at DeSoto Parish, joins us in a couple of seconds. How'd he do? Pretty good. Even with the curve, we'll have him explain that. Chief Crump, what's the deal? Plus Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather. And I couldn't think of a song for that one. It's all coming up this hour right here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Louisiana Superintendent of Education John White releasing the annual school performance scores. White says the scores have remained steady for the third consecutive year. He says Louisiana fourth graders are showing the most improvement in reading and math.
Our state was the fastest improved in the nation in fourth grade on the National Assessment of Education Progress.
The Department of Education also debuted their new website today, louisianaschools.com. Now, Bossier and DeSoto schools scoring an A, Caddo improving a little, but still at a C level. The Sabine Association for Retarded Citizens building in Manny destroyed in a fire. According to fire officials, the back part of the building caught fire about 5:30 and kept burning off and on until around 9. At this time, no injuries reported. The police chief cleared for duty. Matt Parker has the latest.
Shreveport Police Chief Alan Crump is back on the job after being cleared in an investigation of a shooting incident. Crump was on paid administrative leave following an incident where he fired his gun while in pursuit of a suspect. The DA's office conducted a review of the situation and determined there were no grounds for action against the chief. Mayor Ollie Tyler said in a statement that Crump showed his willingness to put his life on the line and actively participate in fighting crime. You can read her full statement at KEELnews.com. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The Bossier Council votes 4-3 to move ahead on a plan to allow 24/7 alcohol consumption in a part of the newly revitalized downtown area. Some of the biggest concerns with the plan are the size of the area, public safety, security, and homelessness. While many business owners agree that Bossier needs to change with the times, they do want the plan to be executed properly. The council will make some changes and revisit the proposal at their next meeting. Police are on the hunt for an East Texas suspect on the lam locally. The suspect led law enforcement agencies on a high-speed chase on I-20 through several counties in Texas before crossing into Shreveport. Local police say the suspect ditched his car in a church parking lot on Westport Avenue. He's still on the run. The subject of cybersecurity surrounding voting procedures and the ballot box, a top priority for Secretary of State Tom Shedler. He says if anyone were to be successful in breaching the confidential information by taking a machine, they'd have a very short time to do it. He says the machines are scattered throughout 64 warehouses with numerous security measures in place.
break that seal, unscrew 10 screws off the back panel, go into the machine, do whatever you're going to do, re-put the panel back on, and put this seal back.
Shedler says they take their job very seriously and keep up on the latest ways to protect the valuable information. Today marks the one-year anniversary of President Trump's stunning victory over Democrat Hillary Clinton. Trump will mark the occasion during a visit in Asia, where he's on a 5-nation tour. Police arrive at a car crash in Canada and find 5 naked people inside. They end up accusing them of kidnapping a mother, her father, and her baby. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Good morning, 10 past 7 o'clock. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's traffic.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Kings Highway near Linwood Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Overcast and cooler today with rain at times. Steadiest this afternoon. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the 50s. The rain will end this evening. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
13 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. The KEEL app's It Sounds Awesome, and presented by Office Furniture Source. From DeSoto Parish, Superintendent of Schools Dr. Cade Brumley is here. Dr. Cade, how have you been? It's been a while.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. We haven't talked in a few months. Thanks for having me.
It's the school year. You've been busy. The scores are in. And I guess once again, DeSoto has done pretty darn well. Fill us in. Tell us the mad haps, as Erin might say.
Yeah, we're real humbled by the scores, but we're not surprised. Our students have just shown the state and the world what we already knew, and that's how impressive they are. Just to put it in perspective, we are once again an A-rated system. We have a school performance score, or district performance score, of around a 103. In 2010, we were the 45th ranked system in the state of Louisiana on academic performance out of about 70 systems. And this year, with these numbers, we finally cracked the top 10, and we're the 9th ranked system in the state of Louisiana. So we're really excited about breaking the top 10.
The graduation rate is 95% in DeSoto Parish. That has to be among the highest in the state.
Yes, ma'am. We're real proud about that. I remember a few years back, our graduation rate, cohort graduation rate, was 79%. And I remember very specifically giving a speech and telling people that just was not acceptable. And we promised our community we'd do something about that. And over the course of, the last few years, we've put in place structures in order to improve that, take accountability for every single child, and usher them towards graduation. And so we've been able to do that. Our goal, of course, is 100% of kids who start with us as ninth graders 4 years later walk across the stage with a diploma that means something.
So if you get to be an educational consultant, if somebody calls you in and says, Dr. Cade, show us how you did it in 5, 3, 1 bullet, what would you tell them?
Well, there is no silver bullet, but we have been blessed, and I appreciate you letting me tell this story over the years. But we have a strategy that we believe in. We provide the support to our teachers and students to help them achieve the vision that we've set forth, and we hold everybody accountable, including myself. No one can hide in our system. You've got to come to work every day and do the job that you're expected to do, and we're going to hold you accountable at the end.
Room for improvement in DeSoto. What would you point to? What you're going to work on now after sorting through this massive dump of information you get?
Document dump.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. We still are not performing where we'd like to perform on the ACT. Historically, our district has performed poorly on the ACT, and so we're trying to get that up. We're trying to pull a few additional levers there. If you can get those ACT scores up, it means less remedial courses at college. It means more scholarships. It means greater acceptance rates. So we are really concerned about that and working to improve that. And we've improved it over the last few years, but we still want it to go higher.
Dr. Cade, this grading on the curve thing that's going to end, how exactly does that work? Can you explain it to us in about 90 seconds where I can understand it? They're going to end it. This is the last year for that. And how will it affect schools, specifically those in DeSoto, or will it?
Yeah, there will be major changes in district performance and school performance scores over the state. The next time results come out next year at this time, the grading system, which is already one of the toughest in the nation, will get tougher. So essentially, for an A school to be an A school moving forward, basically every kid in the school has to score mastery on every single standardized test. You have to have graduation rates that are tremendous, ACT rates that are tremendous, et cetera. We have worked as a Superintendent's Association over the last few months to not shift the direction that the state was doing on that, but the degree of implementation so that we could phase some of that in. But what you will see next year when results come out, we predict would be lower scores throughout the entire state.
So how did this grading on the curve for every school in the state system get to be put in place in the first place, and why?
Yeah, what they did a few years back when they went to more aggressive standards, they said, well, we'll just grade on a curve for a couple of years until we can phase this thing in. And so that's kind of what happened over the last few years. And so that goes away, but simultaneously, the index values given to the various tests and ACTs and graduation rates, that's about to get much more strenuous. And so you'll clearly see that when results come out next year at this time, you'll have a significantly greater number of F schools and a significantly less number of A schools.
Let me get to one example. You had no D or F schools, but I'm looking at, just for example, Mansfield Elementary is a C-rated school. It has improved considerably from last year, where it was a D. What do you do? What does the superintendent do when because that's what you want to focus on, I guess. You want to improve that school and the schools that need a little help. What are some specifics you can tell us you will be doing?
Yeah, well, thanks for mentioning that. Shout out to Mansfield Elementary. They improved tremendously, something like I think like a 15-point jump this year. We are focused on early literacy skills and early numeracy skills at that school, unlike ever before, and we're trying to integrate our STEM efforts, which are science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, as early as possible at that school. Not one of the major challenges that we face, and I've said for some time, the greatest educational challenge that we will face in our generation, in my opinion, is this 0 to 5. In DeSoto Parish, over half of our students come to us not kindergarten ready. That means they can't count to 10. They don't know the difference in their colors. They don't have basic reasoning skills. And so what we're trying to do is work with community outreach, work with faith-based partners, community organizations, so that our communities within the parish really try to take ownership for this issue in 0 to 5, because so much of the brain develops before children even come to us.
Cade Brumley, Superintendent in DeSoto Parish, congratulations on your successes, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. You guys have a great day.
Thanks.
Tough being on top, my friend. A pleasure as always.
See you later.
19 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL Sports Update on the way. Right now, traffic time. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at West 70th Street and Mansfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Swan Lake Road near Shed Road in Bossier City. If you know something we don't, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Overcast and cooler today with rain at times. Steadiest this afternoon. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the 50s. The rain will end this evening. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Twenty-two past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, and the KEEL app. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The college football playoff rankings were unveiled last night. No change, really. At the top, Georgia 1, Bama 2, Notre Dame 3, Clemson 4. Then Oklahoma and TCU are 5 and 6. Unbeaten Miami moved up 3 spots to number 7. Wisconsin, also undefeated, moved up only 1 spot to number 8. Washington is 9th. Auburn is 10th. Other SEC schools, Mississippi State is at 16. Of course, they host Alabama this weekend. And LSU, still hanging in there like a hair on a biscuit, is at number 24. In the NBA last night, the New Orleans Pelicans won their third straight game with a 117-112 win over Indiana. They trailed by 14 at the half, but came back thanks to Anthony Davis and Boogie Cousins. AD had 37 points, 14 rebounds. Boogie Cousins, 32 and 13. Former Louisiana Tech Bulldog Paul Millsap had 17 points as Denver knocked off Brooklyn 117-104. And the Philadelphia 76ers have won 5 straight. Former LSU ace Ben Simmons, 16 points, 13 rebounds, as the Sixers took care of Utah 104-97. The LSUS Pilot basketball program picked up a double dip of wins in Dallas. The women improved to 4-0 with a 92-42 win over Dallas Christian, and the Pilots knocked off Dallas Christian 107-81 to improve to 3-0. And tragic news in the world of baseball, 40-year-old two-time Cy Young winner Roy Halladay died in a single plane crash on Tuesday when his plane crashed into the Gulf of Mexico just off the coast of Florida. Halladay is the only man, other than Don Larson, to throw a no-hitter in postseason play. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Twenty-five past 7 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Tell me about Keel Cash, $5,000.
Absolutely,
You
Keel
want to hang on
Cash.
to that a little bit later, or you want to tell them now?
We could tell them now. Let me just do a click or two
Secret
here.
word? Is there a secret word again? Go to the website, keelnews.com, and it'll have all the details, but you could win up to $5,000. That ain't a bad way to go. What's today's secret word?
Funds, F-U-N-D-S.
Ooh.
Funds.
Funds.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Kind of fitting.
Yeah. Today's my son's birthday. 2 dozen today.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
Happy birthday.
He's 24. That freaks me out.
That freaks me out, too.
In
I
that
can't
when we
believe it.
started on 94.5 in 1996, he was less than 3. And so he was just about 3, and your younger was your young guest was just about 1. And on days that daycare was out or whatever it was, you'd bring them in.
Or they were sick and coughing all over you?
And we'd be in the studio, and they would crawl around the studio on their hands and knees, and they would crawl behind the board, the basic setup.
Oh, God, that sounds scary. I know how that room's set up.
You know how nervous he got?
And the basic 94.5 is still next door to us in this building. And the setup is basically the same as it was 21 years ago when we started in 1996 over there. The point being that you'd have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old on their hands and knees, and they would crawl behind her chair and go behind the board with all the equipment.
And the wires and all that.
Bluntly put, it looks like the fuse box at 3 Mile Island back there.
Yeah, it does.
And they would be like you don't want your cat gnawing on the lamp cord.
Yeah.
That was basically what was going on.
I think that you would get arrested for like child abuse now for that.
This was
probably
20,
would.
This was 20 years ago, and some of the teeth have grown back. Matt said he was. Get a load of this. What do you do in your spare time? Well, Matt says, I perused the Kennedy documents, the Kennedy assassination documents.
I did.
Just released by the DOJ. And you said, I found a couple of things that no one else seems to be focusing on. And I said, like what? And he said, well, can we save it for the radio? Because I think you'll think it's interesting. I said, what? And you said, I'll give you a hint. Hitler.
Yeah.
I went,
what?
What?
remember I guess it was a few months ago, we were talking about that show, Finding Hitler or whatever.
Yeah, that stupid, yeah. Okay, it was the reality show, Finding Hitler.
Yeah, and we were talking about how ridiculous it is and making fun of him. Like, there's no proof of this at all. Well, if you actually read some of the newly released Kennedy assassination documents.
From the CIA and the FBI.
Yeah, the CIA somehow, they get on this subject where they're like, yeah, an informant, a former SS agent, told us that Adolf Hitler is alive and well in Colombia. And, like, showed him a picture of him hanging out with Adolf and, like, the town they lived in Colombia.
And do you have the quote from the document in front of you?
Hold on, I'm looking at the SS agent's name was Philip Citron, and there was this colony. They called it something German.
Well, there were a whole bunch of Germans, specifically Nazis, rumored to have fled to South America after the war, Colombia, Argentina, etc.
Yeah, the Citron guy apparently told his CIA contact, who had a code name, that there was this strong population of former Nazis who lived in this town, and it was basically Nazi Germany and Colombia. There's a lot of idolatry of Nazis past. They addressed this Hitler guy as Der Führer, and like they would do the whole thing. And he basically changed his name from Adolf Hitler to Adolf Schwarzenegger or something.
Of course.
But yeah, the CIA memo states that they didn't believe the story. But not only do you have a former SS agent telling them all this, but there's photographic evidence.
Wow.
Which, as ridiculous as that TV show sounds, maybe they were on to something.
He'd only be 160 years old. 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, 729 traffic time. Right now, Erin's getting local news ready. Right now, here's Ruben.
The intersection at Uri Drive and Southfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Overcast and cooler today with rain at times. Steadiest this afternoon. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the 50s. The rain will end this evening. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Shreveport Police Chief Alan Crump back on the job after being cleared in an investigation of a shooting incident. Crump was on paid leave following an incident where he fired his gun while pursuing a suspect. The DA's office did conduct a review and determined there was no grounds for action against the chief. The mayor said in a statement that Crump showed his willingness to put his life on the line and actively participate in fighting crime. You can read her full statement at KEELnews.com. The Center for Mentally Disabled is destroyed in fire. It's the Sabine Association for Retarded Citizens, the building in Manny. According to fire officials, the back part of the building caught fire and kept burning off and on till about 9 last night. At this time, no injuries have been reported. Bossier takes the next step towards 24/7 entertainment. Matt Parker with that.
The Bossier City Council voted 4-3 to move ahead on a proposal that would allow 24/7 alcohol consumption in a portion of the new revitalized downtown area. Some of the biggest concerns with the proposal are the size of the designated area, public safety, security, and homelessness. While many business owners agree that Bossier needs to change with the times, they do want the plan to be executed properly. The council will make some changes and revisit the proposal at next week's meeting. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
State Senator Greg Tarver says he is more concerned about the future of University Health Hospital with BRF in control. KEEL News asked him, what is the answer?
I will bring the hospital back to LSU Med School. That's number one. Then the problem up here will be solved like it was at first. LSU Med School at first made money and was sending money to the state. All of a sudden, they're losing money, and they're depending on the state.
You can hear Tarver's complete comments online at KEELnews.com. Recent record-breaking heat giving way to much cooler temps as a cold front moves in. State climatologist Barry Kime says expect a gray, dreary day.
The clouds and rain are going to hang around all day today, but the rain totals are not going to amount to a whole lot. It's going to be mostly drizzly conditions and periodic light rain.
After the front moves through, Kime says expect much colder air descending on the state. Cybersecurity at the ballot box, a top priority for Louisiana Secretary of State Tom Shedler. He says some information he was to present this week before a congressional committee would have showed the scope of information they're tasked with protecting.
It's not only the voting machines, but it's also the entire registration process and the registration list.
Shedler says if anyone were to be successful in breaching the confidential information by physically taking a machine, they would have a very short time to do it. Danny Etling makes his 20th start at quarterback for the LSU Tigers when they host Arkansas Saturday. Coach Ed Orgeron gave Etling a vote of confidence earlier this week. Etling appreciates just that.
I mean, Coach, obviously, if he's putting me out there, he has faith in me, and as long as I'm out there, I'll continue to always be trying to make the right read and the best decision for the team, and continue to try and do what I'm coached and try and do better and better every single week at that.
Kickoff Saturday is at 11 a.m. China pulling out all the stops for President Trump's arrival in Beijing. Honor Guard, marching band, jumping children. The ceremony accompanying Trump's arrival at Beijing's airport was elaborate even by China's lavish standards. Don't believe this really happened, but it did. Arizona authorities investigating a home invasion and then the kidnapping of a 94-year-old woman. She was taken to a hospital for evaluation, expected to be okay. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert and Erin, having previously traveled to a number of foreign countries. Well, I mean, nothing overseas, really. Canada, Mexico. Bermuda sort of counts as a foreign country.
Mm-hmm. I went to the Mediterranean over there in Ireland.
Yeah, that's another story for another time. Ms. Geography over there. Nice job, Magellan. Especially in Mexico. In fact, I went to Mexico with a number of Hispanic guys who were American.
Mm-hmm.
Hispanic heritage. And basically the first... In fact, it was a buddy of mine. His name was Rudy, and he was a San Antonio police detective. And we were going to Mexico for the weekend, headed toward Monterrey, in fact. And we crossed into Mexico, and we're in Rudy's Ford SUV.
Mm-hmm.
And he sort of taps me and smiles, and he says, "Bobby, always remember something while we're down here." I said, "What's that?" He said, "I'm as white as you are."
Whoa.
I went, that's interesting. The one thing, and he reinforced that the basic law of Mexico is Napoleonic law. And the basic tenet of Napoleonic law is you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent.
Right.
So I knew when I was in, and I thought about this in Canada, and I thought about this in Bermuda, markedly more benign nations. But I knew probably not to steal anything and end up in a foreign jail. I mean, I just, what was, God, there's a couple. Claire Danes is in one where she gets caught running drugs and ends up in like a Singapore. Look, there's a reason they don't have a marijuana problem in Singapore. It's because it's like 150 years if you're in the same area code as someone who gets caught with marijuana.
Right.
In fact, you can sit here and make the case if you want to stop the drug problem in America, don't let people out early, keep them in jail longer. I mean, you can at least make the case. You know what's illegal? It's either Singapore or Hong Kong. I think it's Singapore. Do you know what is illegal in Singapore? And I'm just guessing Singapore, but for the sake of the story. Do you know what is illegal in Singapore?
No.
Gum.
Gum?
Yes.
You can't chew gum?
Nope. You get caned.
Wow. I'm wondering about...
And you know what's not a problem in Singapore? You know who doesn't break the law?
Who?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Because the sentence is so severe.
Yeah. What about those UCLA players got caught in China?
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I was going to lead to.
I mean, if you're a basketball player and you get caught shoplifting in Singapore, don't they chop off your hands?
In China. Well, this is in China.
Will it be China? Will China be different?
They are out on bail. 3 UCLA players, including Lonzo Ball, Laker guy, younger brother LiAngelo, and 2 others. They are free on bail after being arrested on suspicion of shoplifting from a Louis Vuitton store near their hotel. They're there playing exhibition games.
Trying to swipe some sunglasses.
Against Georgia Tech. If you think that American jails are tough, what was the kid's name? Otto Warmbier.
Yeah.
In North Korea. That was the guy that they sentenced to 15 years at hard labor for pilfering or supposedly pilfering a small flag off the wall. And he got 15 years, and he was beaten in jail. And he came back and was literally, for all intents and purposes, in a waking coma, and he died within 2 months.
Yeah.
Do
these kids get jail time for this?
They are looking at the fact that they are out on bail leads me to believe they are going to be urged to leave the country
and not play the game.
But for shoplifting, it is not uncommon for defendants in China to wait 30 to 37 days before being officially indicted. Among those indicted, Chinese prosecutors enjoy a 99.2% conviction rate. They are looking at, if it goes to trial, between a fine and 3 to 10 years in jail. The fact that they let them out on bail leads me to believe it's all going to work out.
Yeah.
741, it's 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic time. Here's Ruben, and he's on Keel.
The intersection at Uri Drive and Southfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Overcast and cooler today with rain at times. Steadiest this afternoon. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the 50s. The rain will end this evening. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
You want to talk about that now? You want to wait?
No, let's wait.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. KEEL app's a free download to Office Furniture Source. Now let's talk a little bit about it now. Because
first, let me say, because my son's probably driving right now. This is the moment I can say happy birthday. Say happy birthday to Dub.
Happy halfway to 48, kid.
Whoa!
Halfway to 48. It'll be here before.
He's 2 dozen today.
Well, let me ask you. You tell me, in the scheme of parenting, how fast does 24 years?
Just flew by.
Okay, he was in the Marines for 4 years.
Yeah.
He's out of the Marines.
Right.
It seems like I remember when he started Bird and you were freaking out.
On high school, and then he was going to start driving.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember going into the hospital at 6 a.m. to be induced because my doctor was running whatever the big marathon is this month. Is it the New York Marathon or one of the marathons?
It was last weekend.
Okay, so that was the time of year. So he was going to that. So he said, let's do it on November 8th. We'll induce.
Because I got a plane to catch.
Because I got to get on a plane, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I said, great, that's fine. So we induced labor. I sat there. Wait till you hear the end of this story. I'm sorry. I'm totally distracted you from something else. But we go in.
You're wrapped in a black blanket sitting next to a Amazon Prime pantry box. You just do whatever you want.
We don't have to induce. We go in. I'm starting to have natural labor. It's around noontime. You know, my mother's here. At the time, my husband was there in the hospital, and I have.
Is this when you broke his hand?
Yes, I have no pain meds at all. Not a drop. No epidural. No nothing. Natural childbirth. I got the music playing on a cassette player beside the bed. There's music playing, soothing music.
Was it Yanni? Was it John
I don't
Denver?
remember what it was. I don't know.
Rockin' Dopsy?
Doopsy? I'm in a little bit of pain. I don't even remember the pain now. I think it was wing tubes, to be honest, and the Zydecations or whatever they are. Not sure. But I remember clearly just at 5:30 p.m., Peter Jennings comes on the TV to do the national news. And moments after that, my son was born. So Peter Jennings caused the birth of my son.
So Peter Jennings McCarty.
No, that's not
Congratulations,
his name. No,
little PJ.
And Peter, may he rest in peace. He's dead now, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He's God long ago. But
lung cancer.
24 years has gone by just like that.
Like I said, the number one story. How long is... I don't think we have time in this segment. I was going to say, do we have time to play that when he came home from the Marines, when we were on, and we blindfolded you? But I think it's about 7 minutes long, so we don't have time.
No.
But the one memory I have, the most overwhelming memory, the sharpest memory of your kids, is being 3 and 1, like we talked about a couple of segments ago, and crawling around when you didn't take them to daycare, and then crawling around the other side of the board. The studio board when we were still on 94.5, and just crawling around the wires. And I'm thinking, oh my God, there's going to be this, and there's going to be a kid fly 6 feet in the air. And you at that point were it's at some point parents become inured
oblivious,
to all risk of their children. And I'm being
gotta watch over them.
I'm being totally serious. And they'll be fine. What could go wrong? I said, there's wires back there, and they're chewing.
Get electrocuted.
They're chewing on them. There's a light socket. You gave one a fork to play with.
Yeah, of course.
What the hell
and
are
a screwdriver the other.
What is wrong with you? So he's halfway
to 40. I'm proud of my boys. They're both very fine men now.
He's halfway to 48.
Oh, boy. He's not going to like hearing that.
I was... Nani Erin, I can't wait.
Hush up.
Oh, God, I can't
I have grandpuppies, and that's it.
Nani Erin.
Oh, hush.
The clock is ticking,
It's
my friend.
Nanny, by the way.
You're going to be Nanny?
Nanny.
You've already decided?
Well, that's our family tradition.
That sounds really old.
I have a nanny. My mother was nanny. I know it sounds terrible.
God, that sounds really old.
I know.
Get you a walker.
Oh, man.
I actually like this better.
I'm going to have to dye my hair pink, so at least I'm a weird nanny.
Satin pillow?
Some sort of weird nanny.
This
No.
Blue hair McCarty.
Hey! Hush up over there.
At 10 past 8 o'clock, Caddo Parish School Superintendent Lamar Gorey joins us. School scores are out. The annual evaluations have been made public. Bossier got an A. Congratulations. DeSoto got an A. Congratulations. How'd Webster do? We have not...
I'll have to check. I'm not sure on Webster's
and
overall.
Caddo has a C.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the last year, and we were talking with Dr. Cade Brumley DeSoto earlier this hour, and he said, yeah, we were grading on the curve. State grades on the curve.
Yeah.
And I wish we had time to get, God, would it be awesome to get Brumley and Scott Smith and Lamar in here at our table and for an hour just talk about schools and say, who thought that grading on the curve was a good idea? And in fact, what Dr. Cade said was, well, they decided to implement stricter guidelines, so we decided to grade on the curve. Well, I said, well, wait a second. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense.
We do need to get them in. We could squeeze them all in
that
here.
Would be an awesome morning.
It would be. It really would be. Let me work on that. It's scheduling. Everybody's got a schedule and all that.
And the one thing that Dr. Brumley said, and you were talking about some of the schools, specifically the elementaries, and across the area you can look and see some of the elementaries just aren't doing well.
Middle schools too.
And Cade said, you have to remember, we're getting kids between the ages of 0 and 5.
Yeah.
He said, we're getting kids into kindergarten, into preschool. I wrote it down. They have kids coming into preschool who can't count to 10, who don't know their colors, who have no basic reasoning skills. Now, I don't know what basic reasoning skills. I don't know how you would define that. But don't know their colors, can't count to 10.
That's tough.
Social skills not developed. 749, 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic update coming up right now. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. It's backed up from Spring and Market past Airline Drive right now. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road, just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic delays on Benton Road, just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
I'm Jennifer Koshenko with your
It is 8 before 8 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The college football playoff rankings were unveiled last night. No change, really. At the top, Georgia 1, Bama 2, Notre Dame 3, Clemson 4, then Oklahoma and TCU are 5 and 6. Unbeaten Miami moved up 3 spots to number 7. Wisconsin, also undefeated, moved up only 1 spot to number 8. Washington is 9th. Auburn is 10th. Other SEC schools, Mississippi State is at 16. Of course, they host Alabama this weekend. And LSU, still hanging in there like a hair on a biscuit, is at number 24. In the NBA last night, the New Orleans Pelicans won their third straight game with a 117-112 win over Indiana. They trailed by 14 at the half, but came back thanks to Anthony Davis and Boogie Cousins. AD had 37 points, 14 rebounds. Boogie Cousins, 32 and 13. Former Louisiana Tech Bulldog Paul Millsap had 17 points as Denver knocked off Brooklyn 117-104. And the Philadelphia 76ers have won 5 straight. Former LSU ace Ben Simmons, 16 points, 13 rebounds, as the Sixers took care of Utah 104-97. The LSUS Pilot basketball program picked up a double dip of wins in Dallas. The women improved to 4-0 with a 92-42 win over Dallas Christian, and the Pilots knocked off Dallas Christian 107-81 to improve to 3-0. In tragic news in the world of baseball, 40-year-old two-time Cy Young winner Roy Halladay died in a single plane crash on Tuesday when his plane crashed into the Gulf of Mexico just off the coast of Florida. Halladay is the only man other than Don Larson to throw a no-hitter in postseason play. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
We got to do more with this.
I agree.
We got to do more. Are you the least bit interested in any of this?
No.
Really?
But you watched the show.
1017 FM 710 Keel. That in the Kennedy documents just released by the FBI and the CIA, there is an interview with a former German, with a former Nazi SS agent who is sort of an informant to the CIA. And one of the things he tells them is that Hitler's alive in Colombia.
See, I think that's I've watched all the Hitler stuff. I do watch all that stuff. And
okay, there's a difference between
I've seen that. I've actually seen that.
There's a difference between like something on Cooking Channel.
I've seen the underground bunkers in Colombia they've gone to, and I've seen whatever that is.
But it's a It's we'll talk about this just after.
Boy.
We'll talk about this more later. Matt is freaking out. 7:57. Here's Hannity, and he's on KEEL.
And nothing but. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
All right, on Monday, the president was in Japan. He was meeting the prime minister, and the two took time, photo opportunity, and they were feeding the koi fish. But both Trump and the prime minister began feeding the fish by the spoonful until the prime minister decided to dump his whole box of food into the pond. Well, then the president followed suit, dumping the rest of his food into the pond. Sadly, the mainstream left-wing destroyed Trump media wants you to think otherwise. Joe Concha from The Hill pointed out the biased and misleading headlines. New York Magazine, Trump under fire for improper fish feeding technique. Jezebel writes, big stupid baby dumps a load of fish food on Japanese koi pond. CNN, fake news. Trump feeds fish, winds up pouring entire box of food into koi pond. Okay, mainstream media has gotten it wrong yet again. That's why they're so untrustworthy.
Keeping you on the straight path. Later today, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, I recently gave my home a facelift. I did it the best and simplest way possible. Brand new blinds from Blinds.com. Every single order gets free shipping. And guess what? Their prices, they're unbeatable. Now, let's say you accidentally mismeasure. You pick the wrong color. They will remake your blinds for free. Now through November the 20th, when you go to Blinds.com or call 1-888-4BLINDS, you're going to save up to 40% off everything, plus an additional 5% when you use the promo code Hannity. That's Blinds.com, promo code Hannity. Rules, restrictions apply.
Miles of piping, thousands of elbows, hundreds of valves. In the complex network of piping at your facility, heat loss happens, and you're paying for it. Covering the pipes, restricting heat loss is the mechanical insulation. Piping insulation saves energy, money, and ultimately greenhouse gas emissions. Creating a solar field isn't the only way to save fossil fuels. For a network of mechanical insulation experts, visit iSaveTeam.org.
The intersection of Kern Avenue and Midway Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now, and we're still keeping an eye on that backed-up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Airline Drive right now. If you have anything to report to us, let us know at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 87 Road.
KeelAccuWeather.com forecast, cloudy and a lot cooler today. A chance of light rain through the day. High today near 60, probably upper 50s. It's 51 at KEEL.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning. It's 8:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, the KEEL app. Erin, local news, getting ready.
Talking about the school test scores, we'll have that. The Bossier City Council, a 4-3 vote on an alcohol proposal. We'll talk about that, too. And record-breaking heat gives way to colder temps.
Okay, so we've got the school scores. Let's see. DeSoto, pretty good. Bossier, not bad at all. Caddo had a
C.
We will chat with Dr. Lamar Gorey, Caddo Superintendent, in just a couple of seconds. Plus more on the Chief of Police back on the job. Plus Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's all here this hour coming up on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Police are on the hunt for an East Texas suspect on the Lamb in Shreveport. The suspect led multiple law enforcement agencies on a high-speed chase on I-20 through several counties in Texas before crossing into our area. Shreveport police say the suspect ditched the car in a church parking lot on Westport Avenue. A center for mentally disabled is destroyed in a fire. Matt Parker with that.
The Sabine Association for Retarded Citizens building in Manny, Louisiana has been destroyed in a fire. According to fire officials, the back part of the building caught fire around 5:30 and kept burning off and on until around 9. At this time, no injuries are being reported. The organization employs nearly 100 workers and provides services for 90 mentally disabled citizens. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Several local pastors say they do have parishioners with guns in their churches. Larry Brandon with Praise Temple telling KEEL News why he's implemented the program in his church.
We really don't want to intervene. We want to act as a deterrent. We want to prevent. We're taking preventive measures. We want someone to think not twice, but we want them to think 4 or 5 times before they begin to act evil or to try to create a violent situation.
State law allows guns in churches if the pastor gives the okay and the gun owner goes through specialized training. Big improvements for some local school districts, both Bossier and DeSoto Parish scoring an A in performance scores. Caddo is up some, but still remaining at a C level. The Bossier Council votes 4-3 to move ahead on a plan to allow 24/7 alcohol consumption in a portion of the newly revitalized downtown area. Some of the biggest concerns with the proposal are the size of the area, public safety, security, and homelessness. Shreveport Police Chief Alan Crump back on the job after being cleared in an investigation of a shooting incident. Crump was on paid leave following an incident where he fired his gun while in pursuit of a suspect. The DA's office conducted a review and determined there were no grounds for action against the chief. Mayor Ollie Tyler said in a statement, Crump showed his willingness to put his life on the line and actively participate in fighting crime. You can read her full statement at KEELnews.com. Senator Bill Cassidy has introduced the Vehicular Terrorism Prevention Act. It's aimed at preventing terrorists from using cars to attack Americans. Cassidy says as technology improves, newer vehicles can become weapons in the hands of terrorists.
Driverless cars, for example, could those be used as weapons? We need to consider this and make sure that we have all the tools that law enforcement needs to keep this from happening.
Cassidy says driverless vehicles are basically computers on wheels that can be controlled remotely. We're roughly a year away from voting for mayor in Shreveport, and we have done a poll online in the mayor's race. And with the votes so far, Stephen Jackson has the lead at 38%. Jeff Everson second at 27%. Local political watchdog Scott Hughes tells KEEL News he expects some surprises in the mayor's race.
We almost always look for a council person. I don't think the person's coming off the council. I really think that the way the voter electorate is today in Shreveport, that it is prime for a candidate we don't even know about yet.
The election is November 5th next year. Today marks the one-year anniversary of President Trump's stunning victory over Democrat Hillary Clinton. He'll mark the occasion in Asia, where he's on a 5-nation tour. Meantime, 3 UCLA men's basketball players, including LiAngelo Ball, the younger brother of Lakers rookie Lonzo Ball, have been released on bail early today in China after they were arrested for allegedly shoplifting. The 3 players, a group that also includes freshmen Cody Riley and Jalen Hill, were questioned about stealing from a Louis Vuitton store next to the team's hotel. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Good morning. It's 10 past 8. KEEL traffic time. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. It's backed up from Spring and Market past Airline Drive right now. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road, just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Overcast and cooler today with rain at times. Steadiest this afternoon. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the 50s. The rain will end this evening. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
It is 11 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Statewide school scores are in. Dr. Lamar Gorey, Caddo Parish School Superintendent, is here. Doc, how you been? Nice to have you back.
I'm doing very well. How are you, Robert and Erin?
Good.
I'm getting younger every day, but that's another story for another time.
Caddo Parish gets a C, but you're holding steady at a C, but you've improved a smidge overall, right?
We have, and we're certainly, when we look at the C that we received, it's 3.6 points growth overall for district, and when we looked at our district in comparison, of course, to our comparable districts in size and makeup, generally you look at EBR, Jefferson, and Orleans in some senses. So we were very happy we were competitive within those circles of schools.
High schools, no Fs, but you have, I think, Woodlawn, Huntington still at a D. Are those the troubled areas?
Well, of course, anytime you are a D school, that's an indicator that you're getting close to that, entering that failing status. So certainly you do have to be very specific with your supports in those D schools. Caddo does have a range of D schools that's concerning, and in that respect, we're working diligently to bring those schools off of that D list and move them to the next level as well, or higher, A, B, or C level. One thing I will tell you, though, Erin, when I came into this work 4 years ago, the big thing was reducing the Fs, and we've certainly done that. But now we've got to move to the next level and look at how can we reduce the Ds and ensure that we give every child the very best education possible.
When you talk about the D schools, you are, for the most part, talking about elementaries, I guess. I would think, and we've had other superintendents tell us this, the biggest challenge is the younger the kid, right?
Well, I think that really the way the system is designed, that you do get probably more attention and you have more opportunities at the upper grades to earn points with students. And I think that when you look at the lower grades, it's pretty simple. It's based on the test score. So in that respect, though, we utilize that data so that we can respond appropriately and provide interventions and provide instructional programs. We're strengthening our curriculums as well so that we can ensure that all students are as successful as possible.
Doc, I know you're going to shoot straight with us here, but we spoke with Cade from DeSoto. He's got an A. You're in a different position. This is the last year of grading on the curve. You have to be concerned that this is changing next year, and we could be, you have an inner city in your district. You have to be concerned about when the changes are made, what's going to happen here.
You know, one thing I'll tell you, Erin, and first off, I'll tell you, and Cade's one of the first people I talked to yesterday, a wonderful friend of mine. I'm so proud of DeSoto, so proud of Bossier, so proud of them both and what they've accomplished. But, you know, one thing Cade called me was, as you dig into the data, we're making incredible progress for children. And, you know, at some point we have to decide not to just define ourselves by a letter grade, but to define ourselves by the amazing things that are happening in our schools every day. And that's what I stand committed to. We will work very hard to continue to give every child every possible advantage. And we pray that the community is wise enough to know that every time we get closer to getting it right, the rules change. And in that respect, though, we are only going to work hard for kids every day. I'm not going to worry about a system that's already told me it's going to be 100 more Fs. You know, I'm not going to get caught up in that, because then that's distracting from the children who need me to be focusing on curriculum and instruction.
I certainly see the point of you saying we don't define ourselves specifically or only by a grade, but there are governments, there are systems, there's a lot of people who do. So when it comes time for that judgment day, what are you going to say to them? And will they buy into what you just explained to me and Erin?
You know, at the end of the day, I'm going to come and I'm going to do the very best job I can for children, and I serve at the pleasure of the board. It's all I'm going to tell them, and that's what I'm going to continue to do.
Let me
and
ask
I'm going to tell them just what I told you.
I have
no fears.
I have no life, so I dug deep into this report.
Okay.
Some things I struggle with. Oak Park, 3 years Fs. Queensboro, 3 years Fs. Sunset Acres, 3 Fs in a row. Turner goes from a 54 to a 38, now an F. What specifically can you do at those schools? It's got to be a lower student-teacher ratio has got to be one of the keys, but how do you pay for it, right?
So what I would tell you, if you look at the research now, I could also walk you to several schools that have been A's. I can walk you to CMM
absolutely.
That's been the #1 school for years and years. I can walk you to South Highlands that's performing excellent. These schools have been A schools since the inception of the program.
Sure.
And what I would tell you that the measurable difference, and research supports this, it's not my opinion, all the schools you've mentioned are schools of poverty. They're schools where we have over 98% of the children being raised in poverty. Now, in that respect, Erin, there's a lot of extra stuff we have to do. I'm so excited that we work in a district that is taking equity seriously. We work in a district that understands if we're going to have qualified teachers in those schools that you just named, it's going to require some additional resources. And our district is allocating those resources. That's the elephant in the room. It's a lot of poverty there. So we have to overcome some of the things that the poverty brings. And
these
again,
kids aren't being read to at home. They're
10,
not.
I can walk you to 10 that have never been below an A.
Absolutely. But these children, they don't have books in their home. They don't have, some of them don't even have mom or dad home when they wake up to go to school. How do we bring
Erin,
the whole
we call
city
That's
together?
soft data. That's nothing I can change. All we can do is within those hours that we have them, we have to work diligently to give them the resources to be successful. That's what things like the Amazing Shake is all about, looking at that social emotional aspect of what we're doing for children so that we can give them the skills to be successful.
When you're looking at that kind of uphill fight, how do you as a superintendent, how do your principals maintain, how do they keep a positive attitude, a we can do this attitude facing such an uphill fight?
We have to not let those people you describe that want to label us as a score get in our head. We have to ignore that. We have to continue to work hard for children. I promise you, every school you just named, if you walk in the school, you would be overly impressed with how hard those people are working. And we can't let that define them. We can't let someone saying an F, it means that the teachers aren't teaching or that we need smaller classes. It means that we have to refine everything that we're doing and continue to refine that and continue to work hard for those children where many of them, they're hostages. We are the best that they have. And we have to continue to work hard every day for those students.
You hear this all the time, so let me give you a chance to address it.
And I'm going to tell you, Erin, this argument's going to get louder because there are going to be more F schools. The state's told us.
Let me ask you, you hear this. You hear this a lot, and so I want you to address it. Those schools don't have the same physical plant that some of the AC Steers, some of the others do, and they don't have the same library system and all that. Is that accurate? Is that not accurate? Can we do more physically in those schools?
Right, Erin. And what I'll tell you is if you look over the last 3 years, and I can only speak to those three to 4 years at this point, we have certainly made every effort to equalize what we're offering in facilities. Now, I will tell you, though, from a resource perspective, equity is a big deal in this district. In many of those schools, we realize we have to do more. When we look at TAP initiatives with full payout models, which is something that DeSoto has done a wonderful job of implementing, we did that within our 14 most struggling schools. When we look at specific curriculum support from our curriculum specialists that's targeted towards schools in need, many of the schools that we describe, when we look at our schools that have been D and or F for the last 3 years, those are the specific schools where we're working. When we design initiatives to support new teachers and we add new teacher coaches, those are the specific schools where we're doing that work. So please know, we as a system, we're doing equity has really has led us to do more in those schools, and we just pray that we see the results to match the hard work that our employees, our teachers, our principals, and everyone in those schools are putting out.
Dr. Gorey, thank you for your candor and your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Always my pleasure, guys, okay?
20 past 8 o'clock. It's 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic time. Right now, here's Ruben on Keel.
The intersection at Hearn Avenue and Midway Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're still keeping an eye on that backed-up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Airline Drive right now. If you have anything to report to us, let us know at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Overcast and cooler today with rain at times. Steadiest this afternoon. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the 50s. The rain will end this evening. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
FM, 710 Keel Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The college football playoff rankings were unveiled last night. No change, really. At the top, Georgia 1, Bama 2, Notre Dame 3, Clemson 4. Then Oklahoma and TCU are 5 and 6. Unbeaten Miami moved up 3 spots to number 7. Wisconsin, also undefeated, moved up only 1 spot to number 8. Washington is 9th. Auburn is 10th. Other SEC schools, Mississippi State is at 16. Of course, they host Alabama this weekend. And LSU, still hanging in there like a hair on a biscuit, is at number 24. In the NBA last night, the New Orleans Pelicans won their 3rd straight game with a 117-112 win over Indiana. They trailed by 14 at the half, but came back thanks to Anthony Davis and Boogie Cousins. AD had 37 points, 14 rebounds. Boogie Cousins, 32 and 13. Former Louisiana Tech Bulldog Paul Millsap had 17 points as Denver knocked off Brooklyn 117-104. And the Philadelphia 76ers have won 5 straight. Former LSU ace Ben Simmons, 16 points, 13 rebounds, as the Sixers took care of Utah, 104-97. The LSUS Pilot basketball program picked up a double dip of wins in Dallas. The women improved to 4-0 with a 92-42 win over Dallas Christian, and the Pilots knocked off Dallas Christian 107-81 to improve to 3-0. And tragic news in the world of baseball, 40-year-old two-time Cy Young winner Roy Halladay died in a single plane crash on Tuesday when his plane crashed into the Gulf of Mexico just off the coast of Florida. Halladay is the only man, other than Don Larson, to throw a no-hitter in postseason play. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
You know, I know you're all proud of yourself, all pumped up, all overjoyed about your recent, bluntly put, gambling win. I'm sorry, broccoli win.
Yes, I don't bet money. I bet
LSU
broccoli.
and Alabama. 101.7 FM is 710. KEEL, Robert, and Erin.
I'm eating a lot of broccoli these days.
If you were a real betting woman, well, no, now I'm not so sure. So I get a text from my brother last week, and he said, and it was something I had seen online a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
It said, you know, like, and I don't remember the exact number, the precise expanse of time. But what he said was, do you realize that if you had bought like $100 of Bitcoin 3 years ago when it was 1/1000th of a penny or something like that, what it would be worth now? And he says, I did. So I did a little math.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered that if my brother in reality bought $100 of Bitcoin 3 years ago when it was 1/1000th of a whatever,
right,
that my brother today right now is worth $3,500,000,000.
Seriously?
Or $5,300,000,000, whichever it works out to be.
Who takes Bitcoin, though?
That's the problem.
Well,
yeah.
Actually, there are over 100,000 merchants worldwide that accept Bitcoin, but let's just say you want to transfer it into cash.
No, you can't find anybody.
Good luck.
So, I mean, you can buy a lot of stuff if you can find somebody that takes Bitcoin. The thing is that prices for Bitcoin or things they take in Bitcoin have risen at the same rate.
Mm-hmm.
So, if my brother really has $3,500,000,000 in Bitcoin.
No kidding.
The problem is, it's like this, okay? Let's say your Bitcoin and I come to you and I say, here's $100, give me that amount in Bitcoin, and you'll say, okay, you get $1 million in Bitcoin. I go, this is awesome. So you take my $100, and I've got $1 million in Bitcoin.
Right.
And then 10 minutes later, I said, okay, here's my $1 million in Bitcoin. I want my 100 back. And you go, that ain't how it works.
It ain't worth that, yeah.
No. It's worth that, but you've got $100. You can't find, you tell me, you know more about it than I do. If my brother is really worth $3 billion in Bitcoin, but who's going to give him $3 billion for his Bitcoin?
Yeah, converting it and cashing out is one of the major problems. There's also a lot of criminal activity that goes on.
One of the major problems, pardon me, basically you have a currency that has nothing or anybody backing it. I mean, our American money isn't really backed by anything except the good faith and promise of our government. There's nobody that is given. There is no good faith and or promise of the value of Bitcoin. Am I wrong?
That's pretty much on the money.
Well,
it's basically like getting a stack of Monopoly money. That I got $1 billion of this Monopoly money.
And it's good at Monopoly,
but I got nowhere to go with it.
Well, I do want you to tell him, because I just checked a list. Subway takes Bitcoin, so he can buy a 1,000,000-mile long Subway sandwich.
Oh, my God.
Yep, get him a big old BMT.
He'll lose weight like crazy. 29 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Erin has local news in a second. Right now, traffic. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Line Avenue and Kings Highway. And we have some traffic delays on Shed Road near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Overcast and cooler today with rain at times. Steadiest this afternoon. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the 50s. The rain will end this evening. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Shreveport Police Chief Alan Crump back on the job after being cleared in an investigation of a shooting incident. Crump was on paid leave following an incident where he fired his gun while pursuing a suspect. The DA's office did conduct a review and determined there was no grounds for action against the chief. The mayor said in a statement that Crump showed his willingness to put his life on the line and actively participate in fighting crime. You can read her full statement at KEELnews.com. The Center for Mentally Disabled is destroyed in fire. It's the Sabine Association for Retarded Citizens, the building in Manny. According to fire officials, the back part of the building caught fire and kept burning off and on until about 9 last night. At this time, no injuries have been reported. Bossier takes the next step towards 24/7 entertainment. Matt Parker with that.
The Bossier City Council voted 4-3 to move ahead on a proposal that would allow 24/7 alcohol consumption in a portion of the new revitalized downtown area. Some of the biggest concerns with the proposal are the size of the designated area, public safety, security, and homelessness. While many business owners agree that Bossier needs to change with the times, they do want the plan to be executed properly. The council will make some changes and revisit the proposal at next week's meeting. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
State Senator Greg Tarver says he is more concerned about the future of University Health Hospital with BRF in control. Keel News asked him, what is the answer?
I will bring the hospital back to LSU Med School. That's number one. then the problem up here would be solved like it was at first. LSU Med School at first made money and was sending money to the state. All of a sudden, they're losing money, and they're depending on the state.
You can hear Tarver's complete comments online at KEELnews.com. Recent record-breaking heat giving way to much cooler temps as a cold front moves in. State climatologist Barry Kime says expect a gray, dreary day.
The clouds and rain are going to hang around all day today, but the rain totals are not going to amount to a whole lot. It's going to be mostly drizzly conditions and periodic light rain.
After the front moves through, Kime says expect much colder air descending on the state. Cybersecurity at the ballot box, a top priority for Louisiana Secretary of State Tom Shedler. He says some information he was to present this week before a congressional committee would have showed the scope of information they're tasked with protecting.
It's not only the voting machines, but it's also the entire registration process and the registration list.
Shedler says if anyone were to be successful in breaching the confidential information by physically taking a machine, they would have a very short time to do it. Danny Etling makes his 20th start at quarterback for the LSU Tigers when they host Arkansas Saturday. Coach Ed Orgeron gave Etling a vote of confidence earlier this week. Etling appreciates just that.
I mean, Coach, obviously, if he's putting me out there, he has faith in me, and as long as I'm out there, I'll continue to always be trying to make the right read and the best decision for the team, and continue to try and do what I'm coached and try and do better and better every single week at that.
Kickoff Saturday is at 11 a.m. China pulling out all the stops for President Trump's arrival in Beijing. Honor Guard, marching band, jumping children. The ceremony accompanying Trump's arrival at Beijing's airport was elaborate even by China's lavish standards. Don't believe this really happened, but it did. Arizona authorities investigating a home invasion and then the kidnapping of a 94-year-old woman. She was taken to a hospital for evaluation, expected to be okay. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
You know who Bunky Hunt was?
I do not.
No.
101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, because we're kind of talking about Bitcoin. So we got a text that Regions Bank will deal in Bitcoin.
Yeah, what they said is Regions Bank will transfer your Bitcoin wallet money into your account. Easy to do. I'm sure there's a conversion
But
fee.
do they
I'll try it. Tell him to give me some of it. I'll go try it
do
at
they
my
change
bank.
it back to dollars, or do you have like $1 million and then some Bitcoin?
It sounds like they transfer the money for you, kind of like going to a foreign exchange.
Bunky Hunt. You know who Lamar Hunt was? Lamar Hunt originally was
Silver
one of the,
guy.
Yes, exactly. Bunky Hunt was his brother back in the 70s or early 80s, and basically Bunky Hunt tried to buy up all the silver in the world. So could you, in fact, try to buy up all the Bitcoin in the world, and then you are the king of Bitcoin? And if anybody wants it, they have to go through you to get it. That basically was the Bunker Hunt scenario. And he was going to buy up all the silver. He'd control it if you needed it for industry or whatever you wanted it for. Then he had it all.
You had to go through him.
And he could name his own price, i.e. his own exchange rate.
Well, unfortunately, silver actually exists. You can hold it in your hand. You can possess it. You can have it in a bank, safety deposit box,
You
whatever.
bet.
Bitcoin is fictional. It's a made-up online currency that you get through mining digitally.
It's not like poker chips, plastic poker chips.
There's nothing to hold on to. You're playing with your imagination.
His analogy of Monopoly money was awesome. If you're playing Monopoly, Monopoly money has a lot of value on the Monopoly board.
Why can't I just say I have 1,000 Bitcoins then? I've got 1,000 Bitcoins.
because you don't have a Bitcoin account, because you have to prove you have it.
If it's invisible, how do you prove you have it?
You have like a little wallet, and hey, look, I have.
You have a digital wallet, a digital Bitcoin account.
But here's the thing: if you're a hacker, let's say you're really good.
Yeah.
What's to say you can't
hack yourself some Bitcoin?
Fictionally create yourself some Bitcoin, and then you go to a real bank like Regency, who for some reason Regents, sorry, who is for some reason participating in converting this. And go, hey, right here it is. It's in my digital wallet.
Let's work on that, Matt. Can we work on that?
I'm sure we're going to need someone a lot smarter than me, but I'm sure if you actually,
is it a federal crime to counterfeit Bitcoin?
You can't counterfeit something that doesn't exist.
But if I hack something and I go to Regions and say, here, deposit my Bitcoin, and I really didn't have it, did I commit a crime?
Are you? Well, you're fraud. It's bank fraud. I would imagine, yes.
Yeah, probably so.
But you see the problem with Bitcoin?
Yeah.
You see the reason that my brother is probably, look, if my brother really, as he claims, has $3.5 billion in Bitcoin, if that means there's a lot of people that do.
Yeah.
Don't you think you would be reading a lot about this and the entire if there were a place, good use of the subjunctive, if there were a place where you could cash in your Bitcoin for American currency, U.S. dollars.
Cash away.
The economy would collapse. Nobody has that much cash.
Yeah, you're right.
839, it's 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. They are hostages. We are the best that they have. That was Dr. Lamar Gorey told us that last hour. What's he talking about? We will review momentarily. In the meantime, here's Ruben Traffic Time.
Looks like we have some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Overcast and cooler today with rain at times. Steadiest this afternoon. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the 50s. The rain will end this evening. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer. Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Rain at times today. Steadiest for the afternoon and evening. Remaining cloudy and cooler. Temperatures holding nearly steady in the 50s. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.842, it's 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, and the Keel app's a free download from Office Furniture Source. In the 7 o'clock hour, we chatted with DeSoto Parish School Superintendent. You're on camera. DeSoto Parish.
That's okay, I'm just adjusting. The girls need a little attention.
DeSoto Parish School Superintendent Dr. Cade Brumley. Statewide scores came out for all the parishes, all the school districts yesterday, and DeSoto had an A. Bossier had an A. In the 8 o'clock hour, we chatted with Dr. Lamar Gorey, Caddo Superintendent. Caddo had a C. Dr. Gorey, let's start there. Caddo had a C. And we talked specifically about not only the schools that did very, very well, a number received A's, and you went out of the way to point out there is a demographic difference between, say, Caddo Parish and somewhere like DeSoto, which is markedly more rural.
Absolutely.
And what Dr. Gorey said was, and I wrote down specific quotes from both superintendents. Dr. Gorey said, they are hostages. Now, he's talking about kids. He's talking about a lot of kids in his district, in Caddo Parish. And what he means is, you know, they are kids, in parentheses, of poverty. They are hostages, parentheses, of poverty. We are the best that they have. Because you made the point. You get a lot of kids. Now, what Dr. Brumley said, we're talking about kids entering school, the age of 5 or 6 or early years. Dr. Brumley said, in reference to a couple, one specifically, I guess it was Mansfield
Elementary, yeah.
that the scores there were not overly impressive. And here was what Dr. Brumley said, talking about basically 5 and 6-year-olds, that they have kids coming into their system who can't count to 10, who don't know colors, and who have no basic reasoning skills. So, you can jump up and down, and you can scream, and you can yell, and say that the schools aren't doing their job, or we need more money, or we need a better teacher-to-student classroom ratio. But at the end of the day, isn't it really that Dr. Gorey and all the teachers in Caddo, and to a lesser degree, but just as seriously, Dr. Brumley and all the teachers in DeSoto are getting a whole bunch of kids who don't have basically the same home life that a lot of other kids have.
You're absolutely right. That is a huge problem.
And so how do you deal with that? When you
Dr. Gorey made a statement that I thought was pretty brilliant. He said, we can only do the best we can do for these children while we have them. And that's what we're going to do. But if I'm a parent, and I have, dug into these numbers, hard. And yes, there's some great schools. But when I see Sunset Acres scoring a 28, and that's 3 Fs in a row, I wonder why that school is even in existence. Why is Sunset Acres even still open? You're wasting my child's time.
No.
You're wasting those teachers' time. Nobody's learning anything.
How do you know that? How do you know that getting them to an F is not one of the greatest academic achievement when you have, let me once again quote Dr. Brumley. We get children who start school who can't count to 10. We get children starting school who don't know their colors. We have children starting school who don't have basic reasoning skills.
Why don't we have parents in Caddo Parish screaming about Sunset Acres scoring a 28, 3 Fs in a row? If I was going to have to send my child to Sunset Acres, I would be picketing outside that school board office every day with a sign saying, I do not want to send my kid to this neighborhood school. It is abysmal.
Because if you're picketing that school, you're not at home teaching your children to count to 10. You're not home teaching your children colors. You're not having your child in an environment where they learn basic reasoning skills. Basically, what you have is a generation heaped upon a generation heaped upon a generation of parents who aren't doing the job at home.
And the job's obviously not getting done at school either in some of these cases.
You don't know that. If you have to
If the school is an F for 3 years in a row and now it's down to a 28.
But maybe the kids are coming into the system so far below F.
Then why has it taken 3 years to do more to help them?
Because you get new kids every year.
At an elementary school, you have them for 5 years.
And it takes... Look, I'm not disagreeing with you completely. What I'm saying is that maybe you get kids coming to those schools who are so bereft of any parental guidance, supervision, much less learning, that getting them...
And I know some are going to come to school and they're going to sleep. They don't have shoes. I understand all that.
So if below 70 is an F?
Oh, no, it's... in the 40s is an F.
No. But what is a minimum? What is
I don't know. I know a 56 is a D.
Okay. Maybe It took every ounce of skill and effort and nose to the grindstone to get that school up to a 28. As insane as that might sound, maybe that's great for those kids because they...
Wouldn't another school be better? If this
You're
school
blaming the school.
I understand that, and I see your point completely.
You're blaming the school.
So these students to go to any other school would drag that school to an F?
I can make the point. I can make the argument that maybe those teachers, is it Sunset?
Sunset Acres.
Maybe those teachers at Sunset are the best teachers in Caddo Parish because they got those kids to an F.
See, I struggle with that. Can we do more in the community for these kids?
Quoting Dr. No.
Can we have an after-school program for these kids at these schools? Can we do a before-school program? Can we do something more to help these children?
Since the 1960s, since the inception of Lyndon Johnson's Great Society programs, we have spent in excess of $3 trillion on entitlement programs, and we are percentage-wise at exactly the same place we are now as then.
Well,
you have an illegitimacy rate of in excess of 70%. At some point, somebody has to stand up and yell, "It's on you." You can't blame you can't always blame the schools.
I understand that, but my worry is this, and this sounds crazy. I know we got a break.
30 seconds.
If we don't pay for them now, we're going to pay for them in jail.
We're paying.
And we don't want to say that out loud, but I will.
We are already paying for them trillions of dollars every year. 849, it's 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL and the KEEL app. Your AccuWeather.com forecast, cloudy and drizzle today into the 60s. Maybe it's 51.
On the test score. So in that respect, though, we utilize that data so that we can respond appropriately and provide interventions and provide instructional programs. We're strengthening our curriculums as well so that we can ensure that all students are as successful as possible.
Doc,
we utilize that data. Making incredible progress for children. And, at some point we have to, as you dig into the data, we're making incredible progress for children. And, at some point we have to decide not to just define ourselves by a letter grade, but to define ourselves by the amazing things that are happening in our schools every day. And that's what as you dig into the data, we're making incredible progress for children. And, at some point we have to decide not to just define ourselves by a letter grade, but to define ourselves by the amazing things that are happening in our schools every day. And that's what I stand committed to.
Ups and downs. How many more laws will the Feel Better crowd propose that overrule our personal freedoms, from the freedom to worship to our right to bear arms?
Instead of proposing new gun laws, why don't we actually enforce the ones that already exist? American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
.855, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. We gave Matt a project today. It's find somebody we can interview that Hitler's still alive. Who thinks Hitler is still alive?
I've watched all that stuff.
Okay, watching the show that you watched on quote-unquote reality TV.
It was History Channel.
Hunting for Hitler. Yeah,
they also have shows on finding Bigfoot, so let's just put that into context.
But,
and what's wrong with that?
Absolutely nothing if you're looking for a date. The point I was going to make was...
I like big burly guys.
We know.
Well, they could use a wax.
The point... the point... Well, that could be your first date.
Second. Come on, let's... She's not...
So back to my original point. Matt has been looking over some of the documents released in the Kennedy assassination document dump from the FBI and the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
And he found an interview with an SS agent who was a CIA informant in the early 60s. And in one
50s.
And in one of the interviews, he put... Do you have it in front of you?
I don't. I had it closed. But basically, what this guy said was he was doing his interview, and somehow it came up that there was this little community in Colombia that was run by nothing but Nazis, and Hitler escaped Germany and was
and he wasn't killed. Yep.
And that Hitler...
That's all in the History Channel. You need to watch it. It's pretty cool.
The History Channel show says he went to Argentina, but that's...
Yeah, you're right. You're
that
right.
The CIA documents regarding a real, honest-to-goodness CIA interview. There's this former SS officer.
The History Channel has an SS guide, takes you to the underground bunkers and all that.
Who says that Hitler, after the war, escaped Germany and got to Colombia. So we're hunting. Matt's job today is hunt down somebody who can do an interview.
The problem is I found a lot of experts. It's just none of them speak English, which doesn't do us any good.
You find the Bigfoot guy, too. You give him on digits.
857, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9. Here's Kim Commando.
If you're one of the 110 million Netflix customers, you're being targeted in a dangerous email scam. Kim Commando with your Wednesday Digital Consumer Tech Update. What makes this email scam extremely dangerous is that it's so very well disguised, and there are so many Netflix customers to swindle. Out of the blue, you could receive an email appearing to have come from Netflix, It claims that Netflix needs to update your billing information. Just click on the box. You'll then be taken to a fake, but very realistic-looking Netflix website where you're asked to log in, enter your credit card, and other personal information. We know that this email is phony because, as one of their existing customers, Netflix already has all your billing information. If you fall for this scam, there's nothing you can do except call your bank immediately. Tell them what happened, cancel the credit card, which will be posted on the dark web within minutes. Our tech news is updated 24/7 at news.commando.com. That's KOMANDO.
Why just listen to the Kim Commando Show when there's so much more? Why not watch the whole show in high definition on your phone, tablet, or television?
This is so cool because you're so nice.
Or download the podcast in crystal clear digital audio. Watch or listen on your schedule, driving, exercising, or relaxing.
I have been following you for years, and you've made me pretty much good genius.
But Kim's Club is so much more. You also get security and data breach alerts, priority calling into the Kim Commando Show.
My favorite digital goddess. I'm so glad I get to talk to you.
And Kim's Club offers discounts for everyone over 50, former and current military, and all service personnel. It's never been more affordable to be a Kim's Club member. So stay up to date the easy and fun way. Because these days, you can't know too much about technology.
And it's like you're our friend on the radio, and I just think it's awesome.
Go now to club.commando.com. That's KOMANDO, club.commando.com.
Looks like we have some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
8:59, your KEEL forecast. Kind of cloudy and drizzle and cooler today. We may not even hit 60, probably won't right now. It's 52 at KEEL. It's 9 o'clock. Here's
breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.